Redline Logbook here for Chapter 29 of Wistoria. And we start off where we left off with Will's sword breaking. All of his friends start to freak out, and the Devon actually cracked a smile at this, super happy that his biggest threat is about to die. He tries to kill Will, but Will retreats. But the Devon's got him beat now because Will has no weapon, and at this point, there's nothing he can do. Fortunately, Elfi is there. Well, she's at the top of the tower, at least. She walks onto the tower's patio and actually drops her own wand straight down to Will. Will immediately realizes that it's Elfi's wand and allows it to basically collide into him and infuses it into his sword. And so Elfi's wand and his sword merge together into a magic ice sword. Thawne is the first person to realize what just happened because he did the exact same thing with Will before, but this is on a whole different level. This is one of the Mage Wanda's swords. This is the Ice Princess's wand fused with Will's sword. It's as if these two are fighting together. And now that Elfi's with him, Will then realizes that this power is unstoppable. Everyone else freaks out, saying that magic can't work on this creature, so having a magic sword is pointless. But Will just swings his sword down, and the Devon's arm and the mage killer are frozen by ice and shatter into millions of pieces. Both Iris and Professor Edward are confused on how he was able to do that, how magic was then able to be used to destroy the mage killer. But the two that freaked out the most would actually be the two evil mages. Mara starts to freak the fuck out. Before, he was all laughing and giddy about the fact that they were slaughtering people, but now he's a mixture of scared and pissed off by the fact that Will was able to use magic to get past the mage slayer. He orders Headless to do it, and that's when he summons an entire army of those monsters again, but vastly more than he did last time, and every single one of them is heading straight for Will. All the Mage Wanda then start freaking out in their own way, because Will isn't using magic, he's using something else, and apparently they all know what it is. It's called the Fifth Element, and apparently it's what helped spawn the origin of this world. In fact, King Aaron seems to be the one that knows the most when he straight up says, "So, finally found him, huh?" But the king doesn't look so happy about it, though. He seems actually kind of angry that Will has this ability. I don't know why Aaron would be angry that Finn finally found the sword that he was looking for, because isn't the sword and the wand supposed to work together to destroy the Celestials that are invading? Like, that's the whole point. Wouldn't Aaron want this? So I'm confused on why he looks so angry at this moment. Will is now just as fast as he was before, but now he has ice powers, and so he's just going all over, slicing up the Devon. Each cut freezes the monster, and even better than that, whenever the Devon launches its magic at Will, the Devon's magic just freezes. Will doesn't even have to block them with his sword. Once they get too close to him, they just freeze automatically, which means the ice magic is just wafting off of Will, and it's so powerful that nothing can get near him. Will's friends then realize that he's way too powerful right now. They realize that the person he's fighting with, the person whose power he's using, is in fact Elfi's, and this actually hurts Clennet more than anyone else. As for Headless's army of monsters, they all just flood straight towards Will, as I said, but Will isn't concerned because he has Elfi with him, and so he activates one of her 12 original spells, the 7th spell. An ice cathedral that any enemy that gets anywhere near Will is just impaled by a giant pillar of ice. Yeah, single-handedly killed every single one of Headless's minions in one blow. This is so stunning that everyone stops reacting, everyone stops talking, everyone is just staring at what Will just did. In fact, Headless even drops his wand because what the fuck just happened? This was probably the greatest army he could have summoned, and they were all killed in an instant. Even Merle stopped screaming for a minute and just stared in shock and awe. Will then decides this is the end of the fight, gets into a stance, his ice sword extends to over double its length, and with his insane movement speed, he cuts down the Devon, completely freezing it solid, and the next thing, it shatters the entire body. Will did it. He slayed the monster. And of course, just to show off that he's a badass, he did the no looking back while walking away slowly as his opponent dies. Full on action movie scene. All his friends are just overjoyed at this moment because Will did it. He killed the monster. Thawne is both happy and pissed off. You could see him both cursing while smiling. And the entire city just roars in excitement and joy. And in the distance, you see Professor Walkner alive. Don't know how. Dude has a giant hole in his stomach. I mean, they talked about the ability to bring back the dead as long as the heart can start beating again, but apparently that's not even necessary. Walkner can just walk it off, I guess. Finn, of course, was watching the entire time and is now celebrating, talking to Mercedes, the mage queen, telling her that he can finally fulfill his promise to her. mean, it took him 500 years, but that's a minor amount of time. Yes, it is now time for Will and the people to fulfill Wistoria, the story of Wand and Sword, the story of destroying the false sky and overcoming what comes. Finn says at this moment that the curtain is rising. Now, the curtain rises when the story begins, which means everything up to this point was a prologue. The story of Wistoria starts here. This is the first page. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, give a thumbs up so you can show more Wistoria and other amazing things. Thank you, and have a great day.